Welcome to the AIR We Weeb. My name is Tim, and I am joined here today by...
Science Assistant Az! And today we have a real-life scientist.
Yes, we do.
Introduce yourself.
No, we don't. I'm not a scientist, but I'm Alex. Hello.
Alex, longtime listener of the show.
He builds spaceships.
This has been my plan the whole time to get on the show.
Yes, we've killed Shawna and Weeb, so they're not here today, and we replaced them with Alex.
Good. We've petrified them in stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we petrified them, and we broke the statues.
Well, Shawna became one with plants, actually.
Yeah, probably. But if you couldn't tell what show we reviewed by that, we reviewed Dr. Stone, Season 2, Stone Wars. I don't know about everyone else, but I really enjoyed Season 1, and I also really enjoyed Season 2.
I did too. I really liked Season 1, and Season 2 I think kind of went off a little bit in a weird direction that I wasn't a fan of, but still would recommend, still like it.
Yeah, It was still a good show. It's just a little bit different.
Well, it's much shorter for one thing. First, because Season 1 was 24 episodes, and then Season 2 was only 11. So really, it's just a focus on this war between the two sides, which we won't spoil yet. We're going to do just a quick little description, what would be called normally the Weebopsis, minus Weeb. And then we'll do a spoiler announcement after that, and we'll do like a proper synopsis full of spoilers later. So if you don't want to listen to spoilers, tune out. If you don't want to know anything about the show, just watch the show and then come back and listen. Yeah, it's only 11 episodes, so...
Just put a pause for like 6 hours and you're good to go.
Very easy to binge, too.
Yeah, it goes by fast.
Mm-hmm. This season, I'm not going to talk about Season 1 very much. Season 2, it's basically continuing where we left off in Season 1. We have the Kingdom of Science, led by Senkuu, scientist at heart who loves everything relating to science, and his whole group of the villagers versus Tsukasa, who is the leader of... They're not really a name for them. I'd call them, I guess, like the Reset Army, because they're all about resetting humanity without weapons, and they don't want science because they think it's bad and it leads to bad things. And that's pretty much it. It's just on this like final battle between them. Would you guys recommend it?
Yes. Sorry, I already said I would recommend it.
Yeah, I think it's... I mean, we pretty much said we all enjoyed it, so I think we would also recommend it.
I don't recommend it, actually. I think you should skip this one and only watch Season 3.
Season 3.
Like, you don't need the first 2 seasons of a show ever, so...
I mean, I kind of think you might be able to skip this season in the future, but for now, definitely watch it. It depends where the show goes.
Yeah, I think towards the ending, this is going to be an important season because it kind of sets up their long-term goal.
Yeah, I think the season is important just to kind of put the conclusion on the intro of the show, basically, because this was essentially just a prologue to what I think the real show is going to be.
Yeah, the final episode's even called... What is it called? Dr. Stone Prologue? Prologue of Dr. Stone.
And which makes sense.
It's what the last...
Alright, so now, spoilers. We're going to talk about the show in depth. So if you don't want to know about that yet, please go away now and come back later.
Yeah, get out of here, nerds.
Okay, so, this would normally be called the Shawnopsis, who would be led by Shawna doing it, but Shawna's not here, so I'm going to do it. Synopsis... Nice. Basically, I kind of implied this. There's not a whole lot in terms of the plot, because it just revolves around these two sides coming to meet at this battle over the Miracle Cave, which has this mixture that's like bat guano and some other stuff, I think, and it is able to revive people out of their petrified states, which is important. And they also need it to create gunpowder, which would help them basically...
The nitric acid?
The nitric acid, which basically able to create gunpowder and would basically ensure that victory for their side, because there's no way you can beat someone that has access to gunpowder and can do explosions and all that.
As Japan really saw
months ago, yeah. But yeah, I mean, only other thing like significantly story-wise is at the end, Tsukasa turns and he becomes a good guy. He teams up with Senkuu in the Kingdom of Science, which is...
I don't know if he turns.
Yeah, he's willing to make a temporary alliance. It's kind of more of what it seems like.
He's like, oh, if you do what you promise and you help revive my brain dead sister and it works, then we'll have like a peace, I guess. I don't know, because it's like he's like, if I'm still kind of dedicated to this goal, but we'll see, basically. Mm-hmm. But then he gets turned on by his own right-hand man, Hyoga, and...
who sort of has hints, like, the entire time that he's...
And Tsukasa's a little naive to not see that.
His entire goal is to build a perfect world by getting rid of adults.
Yeah, it's probably doomed from the start. But Hyoga turns on him because he wants, basically, to be the ruler of this new world and wants to rule it pretty ruthlessly.
He loves violence.
And he stabs Tsukasa, who has to get put into this frozen state by Senkuu, who then sets off with his squad to find the origin of where the whole thing started with the petrifying beam, so he can later petrify Tsukasa and hopefully revive him fully healed after that.
I feel like we skipped completely over Crom getting kidnapped and having his own entire arc.
It's just like one episode. Yeah, I'm not convinced that matters for the story as a whole.
I feel like that's important to him.
Yeah, okay, maybe for his, like...
He's motivated to do things on his own again instead of only relying on
Senkuu.
Senkuu.
For his development, it's important. What is everybody's overall opinion of the show with, like, the story, the characters, the tone, etc.? Overall, I would say, like I said, I really enjoyed it. It's a very fun show. It's light. And I really enjoy the central issue at heart, which is that morality issue of, like, should we be doing what Tsukasa's doing, which is kind of, there's only so much fluid that'll probably be able to revive everyone, so we have to pick and choose who we're going to revive. And then should we also not have science, because obviously today, living in the 21st century, you see the issues around, like, war, like guns, bombs, all these issues that kind of...
climate change.
Because of humans and what they're able to use with technology, so...
I feel like if this show was made before or after COVID, though, maybe there'd be a little detour on that.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe season 3, they'll be like, oh yeah, remember that pandemic we went through right before this all happened?
Oh, no. No, they won't. They won't change. I don't think they'll change the complete story of the manga.
Probably not.
Yeah, which I haven't read the manga, so I don't know how far along that is compared to the show.
Oh, I have no clue either. I just know I think it's one of the few Jump shows Jump series that also just kind of every week it's there. You'll see it. Like, I don't know if the mangaka has needed a break, I guess I should say, unlike some of the other shows where it's very obvious, like, or series.
Basically, it's, like I said, it's a very, like, comedic show as well, like, a lot of, like, gags, and I like the characters, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the big thing for me, is I think it does a really good job with the comedy, as opposed to a lot of anime where I think they try and kind of miss the mark. I feel like it's pretty consistent in that aspect, but I also think that, like the point you just made at the very end, the characters are super likable throughout the show, at least the ones that you're supposed to like, and so I think you can kind of easily just jump in, watch the show, and it's just funny. You like the characters, it's easy to get through. It doesn't feel like a slog ever.
It's like cotton candy. It's an enjoyable, fun show with some learning aspects. They do a good job making the quote-unquote villains likable.
Yeah, a bit.
I don't know, I'll just echo what everyone else said, because you guys took all the good points.
Okay.
I will say, the one complaint about this season, which I think Alex and I talked about too, because we both watched the show as it was coming out, they really sort of just kind of sidelined all the sciencey bits and the teaching.
Yeah. I before the podcast, I made a list of all the science, like all the inventions that they came up with through this season too, and they're all like, we made a tank off screen mostly, or we made stun grenades off screen.
Yeah.
Or like everything that they do, they're just skipping as fast as they can through it so they can kind of get to the main conflict of the series.
That's true. Yeah. think of it, but it does get kind of streamlined in favor of moving towards this battle because the pacing's quite quick because of this 11 episode format for this season.
Right. It seemed like they wanted to speed up this season, get to the main stuff in the next season, and not waste like all their money making a full length season just for this one kind of prologue arc.
I will say though, because we can get into the best points of the show now, the best points to me are still that they do have that science kind of core to the story and how they use it. Yeah. I just think it's so interesting and fascinating to get this real science and the clever ways that they find to use it to accomplish their goals and get past their obstacles.
The phone. Communication is key.
Yeah, it's just insane that they'd be able to do that in like basically a primitive world or stone world, as they say.
Yeah, I think it probably would be pretty hard. I don't know if you guys have seen, kind of making a tangent, that video, like TED Talk on this guy who tried to make a toaster completely from scratch. Like he mined the materials for it and he kind of did everything to make it fully from scratch, and it took him like I actually don't know how long, a super long time to do it, and it ended up being like a piece of trash at the end.
Wow. Well, at least he tried.
That's cool though.
It is cool, but it's kind of looking at this show in that light, it's like, oh, maybe they wouldn't be able to do this, but the theory is there.
Yeah,
it's technically possible.
The heart is there.
Some of their stuff is pretty trash.
Yeah. It's like,
kind of.
It's admirable that they at least try, and you can see how it could work at least. And I mean, people like even when season 1 came out, people were making that Senkuu cola after.
Yeah, that was easy. I made that.
Alex made it.
That's actually pretty easy, and it came out relatively good. It's not like something I would drink every day, but
I mean, it doesn't hold a candle.
It was a fun little experiment.
To Coca-Cola, but you know.
Yeah, well, there's no.
When you're living in a barren stone world, you gotta make do.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think on that point, at least in the first season, one of the things that I liked too is Senkuu is focused all on the theory of how to make all these things, but it still takes a bunch of iterations sometimes for them to actually get it right, because he doesn't he's never like made a cell phone from scratch before, so they kind of have to go through that process of kind of figuring out, sure, we know theoretically how to do this, but how do we actually make the thing?
Right. It's crazy that he's able to even remember all this, especially after so long, like that he would have all this information in his brain that he could pull out whenever he needs to.
Well, it's all stored in his little green onion hair, right?
So what are you guys' best points of the show?
Stop taking them all. It's the science and the comedy.
Well, I didn't say the comedy was the best point. I just said the science stuff. I mean...
Oh, well, we talked about both these things. They're the best points of the show.
It's the characters, the science... And the characters,
the comedy, the way it meshes all nicely together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, well then...
It really doesn't use the, like... There's never, like, fan service, really.
Yeah, not really.
As I recall.
No, not like a lot of other shonen.
There's, like, the opposite of fan service. Instead of getting girls, we get weird bug humans.
Bug humans?
That is correct.
Oh,
look at her. She's like
I was thinking
bug.
more like fish, but bug works too.
Nah, look at those eyes. It's like
what was
bug.
that girl's name? Homura with the pink, the gymnast. I hated looking at her.
Yeah, her character design is kind of rough.
Yeah, a lot of the okay, we can get to worst points. If nobody has any other best points they want to add.
There's some art style choices.
Yeah,
there's a lot of art that just does not work
the
together.
Art.
Yeah,
like with character
a lot of
designs.
the women characters just look like completely the same, like their eyes and everything, their hair.
Even the ones that aren't related.
Yeah,
my years of inbreeding.
Yeah, I know. It's like, come on, like you have like Senkuu, who's like really interesting to look at, and his design's really cool. And then you have all these other people that are like so boring and ugly.
I think Senkuu might be on like top 10 best design like protagonists.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I would
he's
agree
super
with
instantly recognizable with the hair and his eyes, his face, and his outfit even. I like that. It's like a weird like primitive like science-y kind of almost like a lab coat you could describe it as.
Yeah, the character designs was the big one, I think. And like we discussed before, like this time they really sort of like hand waved a lot of the sciencey bits, like off screen I did this, and now we're done.
I will say, at least in most of those cases, they have the little mecha Senkuu come up and it's like, oh, this is how we did it, just like in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But it's still not really a good substitute.
He definitely showed up less this season than he did the last season.
If they... You know how they did, like, the mini-series last season? Like, the little mini-episodes? I kind of wish they did that with some of the sciencey bits that they cut out.
Mini-episodes?
Yeah,
I don't
cool.
know. I don't remember.
Yeah, there was, like, little tiny, like, mini things they did. I can't remember if they were the end of the episodes or if they were, like, separate. But it would have been nice if they just, like... I guess it'd probably be hard, because, you know, this was finished during pandemic.
True.
Like, high time, so...
True.
But at the same time, another tangent, I'm watching Reincarnated as a Slime. And they did a intermediate series made by a different company where it's just like exactly what I want from Dr. Stone, where it's in between all of the stuff that's going on, just what is everyone doing and what are all of the things that we miss because we're trying to like mainline the plot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be cool. But again, it's expensive and kind of takes away from making future seasons, I guess.
Yeah, speaking of like...
Jump really doesn't put as much money as the light novel publishers do.
I remember when the first season came out, they had this interesting like behind the scenes video on YouTube where they went into the anime studio and just kind of showed what all these people were doing to make the show. And that was like the first time I think I'd ever seen kind of that in-depth look at how anime gets made, and it was just really cool.
I do like this show a lot, but it might seem like I'm going kind of hard because I feel like there's a lot of like little things that just like bugged me when I was watching the show that kind of built up. Like normally if it's just a couple small things you can ignore it, but they just build up to be much bigger. And kind of one of those things that we haven't talked about is pretty much everyone in this show always knows what everyone else is doing and thinking.
Oh, right.
And as and I have talked about this before too. It's like Senkuu is kind of off totally on his own and they're making this tank, and then it'll cut to Tsukasa and it's like, the next thing for Senkuu to do is make a tank. It's like, that doesn't necessarily make sense. Yeah, so before they even get there, they already have a trap for the tank.
Yeah, all these characters are like Sherlock Holmes, like they're thinking 10 steps ahead. They have like this crazy deductive reasoning.
Everyone has an IQ of 300 plus.
Exactly. They're all the anime trope with the glasses pushing up. Like, oh.
Except for Yo. Yo is the only stupid character.
Yo, I enjoyed him. As just like a gag
He's
character.
like the comic relief. Yeah, that pops up every once in a while.
Kind of going off of that, my worst points, I know we talked about the science and how that kind of took a back step. I also really don't like how they go and use the petrification and the revival fluid as kind of this miracle solution when they can't figure things out using science. Because it's just it's very at odds with the show and like how they use the science and it's real and you can do this. And it's like they tout science and then they have this very unscientific thing that's basically just fantasy or science fiction and whatever. And they're trying to like, oh, yes, we can heal, we can revive people.
Glue everyone together.
Like, no, you can't do that.
I kind of have slightly mixed feelings about that, though, because it kind of is science to have this kind of observed phenomenon that you see, like everyone got turned into stone by this crazy laser beam, and then try and turn it into something that you can use for kind of to progress your society or help people or things like that. And so I think it's kind of not modern science, but it's still taking the scientific method to like the logical conclusion in this world.
Right.
Yeah, applying.
Once they learned that, because basically Senkuu is the first person that learned that when he was supposedly killed, right, by Tsukasa, and he was able to heal his broken neck.
Well,
technically...
he learned it before.
Yeah, technically he learned it before.
He was testing on the birds.
Oh, right, yeah. So it just took them a while to figure out, like, oh, we can put these people back together and start reviving them, and we can use it, like, if somebody gets injured, we can revive them, like they're going to do now with Tsukasa. So I guess that does make sense in that regard.
Although there is some non-scientific stuff in there, like we don't know how to freeze someone in a way that you can revive them later, and you probably can't just put the pieces back together of these cracked statues
and then be perfectly healed.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah. But
it'd be kind of funny if they go in a future season, like just body horror of like, oh, you're missing all of your internal organs because we couldn't find the pieces, but you're still alive.
But they even mentioned that, like in the show, like when they're reviving one person, they're like, oh, what would happen if it didn't work? Like, oh, it'd be this bloody mess, like body parts would be everywhere, and they're like, ugh. And so they at least acknowledge it. And even for the freezing thing, like Tsukasa says, that's never happened. Like, that's like science fiction.
Yeah.
And they're able to do it somehow still.
I guess in that you have to rely.
Know if he can revive. They just freeze him.
Right.
You have to rely on like the magic bit of the laser beam that we just don't know at this point.
Well, like even like going back to the whole cracking thing, like the whole thing about the revive people, like those black lines are meant to be like cracks that they got when they were stone, right?
Right, but are they actually cracks, or are they just black lines on their face? Because wouldn't that be painful if they had
must
these
just be
giant
black
cracks
lines,
on their face?
Yeah, well, they were like cracks they got that then healed back together from the
I guess
revival,
you could
right?
think of them as scars, maybe.
Yeah. I think that's what they're meant to be, but it doesn't really come across well.
I like how everyone has like unique scars relating to that.
Yeah.
Like Hyoga had the really crazy design by his mouth that he hides. That was really cool.
Yeah, it makes the character designs interesting, but also distinguishes from the villagers who don't have that. So you can easily tell who's been revived and who hasn't.
Right. And I could imagine in the future civilization, if that's what happens, what would everyone look like once they've been procreating for generations?
I haven't even thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they all have cracks
I doubt
on
they'll
them,
get into
like
that in
the
the
shows,
show.
or are they all going to look normal again? Probably look normal, I would guess.
Yeah.
Assuming they revive everyone, it's mostly gonna. Well, I don't know. Yeah, we just don't know that, I guess, and they probably won't get into it in the show if I had to guess.
Well, two people are basically married, so.
Married?
Yeah, what's his face and his girlfriend. They're basically married.
I don't even know who you're
point.
talking about.
Taiju?
The best friend, dude. Yeah.
What's her name?
Okay.
Yuzuriha?
Technically, Senkuu was married.
I don't think they're even in a relationship, though. Like, before they were petrified, he liked her, and I don't think he ever confessed to her, did he?
Nah, they're totally in a relationship.
Yeah, they must be.
I mean,
it's one of those things that they probably just don't talk about in the show, but...
It's, like, very obvious from the way they act around each other.
Yes, it's obvious, but I don't know if it's official, It's not a fish.
It doesn't need to be official to us to be a fish.
No, and it's, like, the only real...
Which,
it's the only real ship.
Brings us to the best ship. It's the best ship.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only ship. And it's not that great.
I like Crom and Priestess Girl, too. What's her name?
I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember her name either.
The other twin.
No, the best ship is obviously Senkuu in Science. Like, that's the only ship.
Oh,
really.
yes.
Yeah. Well, I think next season we're going to
glasses.
get a new best ship, based only on the fact that they're going sailing.
Oh! Alex comes on the show and he brings all of the jokes with him.
No.
I just got what you were going for. It really took me a long time.
No, there's not really a best ship in this show. It's
no,
just not
I enjoy
that.
that there's not really any stupid romance
Yeah,
plot lines to do.
Although, they're really sort of pushing Kohaku and Senkuu, I feel.
Really?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe not.
I thought it was Kohaku
maybe not
and
pushing.
Chrome.
They're alluding
Kohaku
it.
and Chrome, yeah. For sure.
Not Kohaku and
Yeah,
Chrome.
I thought that was what they were doing.
The other girl.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Kohaku is not the priestess lady. It's her sister.
Kohaku's the...
Kohaku's the warrior. Yeah.
Warrior girl. The gorilla.
Yeah, the gorilla. Yeah, she and Chrome, I think, are being pushed to be shipped.
You
Definitely,
think she and Chrome? No. Chrome's gonna be marry what's-her-face? The priestess girl.
We should just look up her name at this point.
She's barely...
Yeah, I've been trying to look at it.
She's not even in the show anymore. Like, she's there, but she literally hasn't done anything since season 1.
Yeah, because the only people they focus on in this season are the people who are going to fight.
Yeah, but like...
But
she
in
was
the
a pretty
future,
important
she's
character,
probably
wasn't
gonna
she,
come
in
back.
the first season? Like, they gave her a lot of
Yeah,
time.
because there's the whole plot is healing her because she's sick, so...
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll come back in next season. Now
Yeah,
that we don't have to worry
her off.
about having just, like, the fighters. I don't know about that.
She's useless, just kill her.
Her name is Rory. Why do you want everyone to be killed?
Not enough death. Sorry.
I don't think anyone's going to die in this show. You can revive anyone.
I know. Now there's going to be no stakes anymore because everyone's going to be able to be healed.
Senku's whole thing is he doesn't want to kill anyone.
Well, that's not really Senku's. That's Ukyo's thing. I think Senkuu could kill people if he thought he needed to.
Yeah, if he... needed to, but it also seems like he won't.
I get the sense that he would never kill somebody. I feel like he does have his own personal moral code that he sticks with.
Like, he just shocks that dude, but, like, let's be honest, that amount of voltage probably would kill that guy, right?
Yeah, I think he gives off the appearance like, oh, I don't care really. Like, I would be okay doing either way, whatever is logical. But I think deep down he does kind of care about saving people. And
I don't think he would do it
people.
by choice. I don't think he would harm anyone by choice, but I think, there's a situation I can imagine where a need arises, yeah.
Do you want to talk about the whole, there's all superhuman?
Yeah, I was going to say that too for bad points of like everyone has superpowers, but it's really...
Yeah.
This is another thing that we've talked about it's really just Ukyo, who I was just talking about, who has like this crazy echolocation power. Everyone else is just either buff or smart.
Well, Tsukasa is like insanely like...
Punch a lion to death, man.
He's like in high school, like... Okay, that's realistic.
He's the strongest high schooler.
And
right.
And there's Hyoga who can like freaking... He's practically a ninja. And he's probably also in high school. Isn't basically everybody like almost in this show high school age?
Hyuga is 20, in his 20s.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
That makes sense because he was working on a submarine. I don't think high school kids would be doing that.
Oh, yeah. Yukio? I don't know how old Yukio is. I don't think they say his age.
But that's kind of the point, though, is he gets his superpower because he is a sonar operator, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense that you'd get good hearing because of that, or you would need good hearing to do that job anyway. So it's a little...
Yeah.
The show,
one of those little tiny things where it's like, yeah, you just have to suspend your disbelief, like, 5 times an episode.
The science is key, but there's also some room for the imagination.
There's definitely...
Yeah.
Yeah. Homura is probably the most realistic of all the... Well...
The gymnast?
I don't know if being a gymnast lets you, like, swing through trees if you've never practiced.
She's become a ninja through the power
Well, she
of
also had,
hardcore.
like, spider senses at one point, like, when Kohaku was chasing her and, like, was about to hit her, I think. From behind, she immediately sensed it from behind and like got out of the way, I think. And it's like, okay, yeah, being a gymnast apparently means you could sense 3D space around you.
Spider-Man was a gymnast. Clearly.
Oh, true, he was able to, swing around like a gymnast. So maybe it's connected.
Yeah.
Maybe I should become a gymnast.
Gymnast powers. Yeah, get Spider-Man powers.
Okay. Anyways, best boy. Best girl, let's start.
Yeah. Best boy for me has to be Chrome. I think Senku's cool, and so it's easy to pick Senkuu, but I think Chrome is just like, I don't know, more immediately likable character, because he's always excited about learning new things, and sometimes he gets the science wrong, but he kind of like, fudges his way through. I have a lot of respect for just his attitude throughout the whole show, compared to Senkuu, who just knows everything.
Yeah, I love the part where he's trapped and he has to figure out a way to get out, and how he like gathers all the materials, and how he fails but he tries again. They do kind of cheat because they give him the battery, but But I
also like about that he ends up being wrong. He makes something that he doesn't intend to make, but it still has similar properties.
Yeah.
And so when he gets back to Senkuu, he's like, actually, no, you didn't do what you thought you did.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny.
You actually didn't do what you needed to, but it still worked. That's what science is all about.
But I also like him just from the perspective of he's just important to the series as a whole, because he kind of takes apart Tsukasa's argument in the sense of like, even if you don't revive everyone and you just keep like a small society of people that are kind of relatively primitive, or at least not going to get to that crazy level of like weapons and stuff like that, you're still going to have people like Chrome that come up that even if they weren't born in modern society, they're going to still start that line of progression. I think it's kind of a criticism of his argument in a person.
Yeah, you can't control people like that, or you can micromanage their inspirations, their desires, like what they're interested in. Like they're gonna express themselves. Yeah, what about best girl?
Best girl, I feel like most of the female characters, it is Melon Girl, but I feel like most of the female characters in the show don't have a huge role.
Yeah.
Except for
Kohaku.
I can't remember. Kohaku kind of Nikki.
Nikki?
Oh, yeah.
She has more of a role in this season.
Who's Nikki? I can't remember who that is.
she's the person that they pull on their side using the phone. Yeah, the obsessive fan.
Oh,
the
yeah,
musician.
yeah. I mean,
I think she has a little bit of a role in kind of like bringing people onto their side. But yeah, it has to be Suika, Melon Girl, just because she's always funny and has interesting little bits in the series where she pops up and does some recon work. I like when she wears the detective outfit. It's kind of funny.
she was definitely Best Girl season 1. I don't know about season 2 because she's barely in it. She's there, but
yeah,
she kind of takes a back seat.
She still pops up to investigate when Chrome is being kidnapped and stuff. But that's, yeah, pretty much it.
The scenes where they show, like, random, like, parts, and then it, like, zooms out, or zooms in, and it's just like, here's the melon.
Yeah.
It's the best. Yeah, Suika's Best Girl, obviously. Best Boy, it's really hard to choose between Senkuu and Chrome, yeah. Senku's, like, meant to be super likable, I guess. He's the Gojo of this series, if you will.
If you watch Jujutsu Kaisen, that's Gojo.
He's OP. He's the guy. He's literally made that you'll fall in love with him. But from like a relatable standpoint, I think Chrome is more of a relatable guy.
He's more relatable, but is he
learn.
Best Boy? That is the question.
Yeah, it's hard to say, you know.
No, I think for me, it's easily Senku's Best Boy, just as he was season 1, because he is the main character. He is cool. His design is awesome, and it all revolves around him and his big brain. I think Chrome is a good second. I think also with Gen, Asagiri Gen.
Gen?
Yeah, I love him and what he's like become like a right hand man almost to Senku and how he tricks people.
Yeah.
He's freaking, he could become this American pop star, Lillian Weinberg, and I love how they force him to speak English, and it's just like, oh, okay, sure. But for me, did you say Best Girl as? You said Suika, right?
Yeah, Suika's Best Girl.
Nah, I mean,
I can't imagine you could choose
I chose Kohaku.
Why?
I think Kohaku's a fine choice.
Just because she's like literally the only female character besides Yuzuria who like has some sort of, I guess Nikki, but
she really didn't.
She's
have
there the most, and she does the most. Like she's protecting people, she's chasing, and she's fighting. I mean, that's all she does really, but it's important.
She's just a gorilla. Yeah. She had no pivotal point to the series. She just was there.
I think. Do you guys think there would be possibly other quote unquote uncivilized groups of people like they first found with the village? Basically, do you think anybody might have survived the original petrification?
It seems like no. I feel like if anyone survived, you would have some kind of remnant of that, at least in the areas where they are in Japan. The only case where you'd have other people is if like it's the country that started like whatever it was, because we don't know what the laser thing came from anyway.
Yeah.
If it's like people who knew that was going to happen and protected themselves, that's the only case I could see where that happened.
Do you think anyone else would be like slowly broken out like Senkuu was with the nitric acid stuff?
Possible.
Yeah, it seems likely.
That could have happened elsewhere. Because I mean, obviously the world is huge. Like it could have happened over the thousands of years. Maybe not when Senkuu, like not when it happened to Senkuu, but it could have happened at any point during that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's definitely
getting to kind of like one of the worst or negative points, I guess, about the series as a whole too, is it seems kind of weird related to that. It seems kind of weird that they care so much about this one cave. Like they just need the bat guano from the cave. There are bats everywhere. You can just find some other place.
But I thought it wasn't just the bat guano. Like there was some other stuff that made it particularly like unique. Because they call it a miracle
some
cave,
other mineral
so
in the cave itself, right?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I can't remember, but I feel like it wasn't just that it's because it's bat crap and something else.
But even then, if you find it in one cave in an area, it seems likely it would be in other places nearby.
You could probably easily like just recreate it on your own. Like if you could find some bats or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so based on how it's made, it seems likely that it could have happened all over the place theoretically. Assuming it's not something like specific to that region.
Yeah, I think they'll probably then just come across more petrified people and that's it, and they'll have to revive them along the way.
That would be my guess, but
then they must have, they're only going to have like a limited amount because they can't bring all of it on a ship, so they must have just brought a small amount. So clearly they're not planning on staying there is what I'm getting at. They're going to probably have to come back at some point.
They gotta revive a sailor, right? They're gonna need someone who knows how to sail a ship.
Well, they're already sailing. How they don't know.
I guess.
Like, that's they
sure
show
they
you at
figure
the
it
end.
out.
They're sailing. They all have pirate outfits on.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't take that to be like real.
I thought
took
that was
as
just, like, his
a
imagination mind, yeah.
Oh, it could be.
Because
Yeah.
like they always make like something a lot less grand than his actual mind imagines.
Because it would be crazy if they skipped over entirely building a ship in just like the first or the last.
True.
10
And it'll probably
seconds of
be
an
something
episode.
that doesn't look anywhere near close like what they showed.
Yeah.
It'll be some like raft
Yeah,
almost.
it's gonna be like a dainty little
Yeah, like a canoe.
It's gonna be like the equivalent of like the duct tape boat that Mythbusters made.
Yeah, then I guess they're gonna have to find someone with sailing knowledge too, like with that journalist girl who like knows everybody somehow.
Yeah. Well, the last person they unpetrified was like a
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
right?
say.
Was who?
I'm not sure exactly why they brought him back.
Who did they do?
It's some mangaka. I don't know if he's.
Yeah, Gen revives a manga artist from the past. I wonder if that's just meant to be a self-insert.
That's
from
what I
the
was
mangaka.
gonna say. I don't know if it was just like, hey, let's say I'm alive in this universe.
No, I think it's because Gen mentions it.
I think the idea is like there's like
they were trying to bring back.
he's meant to chronicle. I thought his whole purpose was like chronicling their journey
No,
by turning it into a manga and artistifying everything.
no, I don't.
Like adding art to the
Yeah,
world.
that's what I
they
thought it was more of. Like they were bringing back art, entertainment, and all that kind of stuff back into this stone world, and they started with the manga, I guess, and then they're gonna probably go get some filmmakers.
It's totally a self-insert. Come
all
on.
that. You'll soon be having podcasts there too.
Oh man, they already could.
True, they have the voice recording equipment, right? Let's go to art, story, sound, voiceover review. Anything that stood out? Obviously, we pretty much crapped on the art in some aspects, but anything else?
Well, to sort of give the art a plus, like there's some really good like character designs, obviously, and I think it's on purpose that like the art style of the revived people and the art style of like the villagers feels kind of like different and off from each other, like they don't mesh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent. Plus, like if you consider who the villagers descend from, they're not all Japanese.
Of course,
so they should look different.
Yeah,
but
they should look pretty messed up.
I don't know.
They do kind of.
I
think they look worse than they should. Yeah.
Listen, they're all just weird inbred.
Yeah. What is like kind of hint at what Kohaki would be to Senkuu? Like, is she like his sister
No,
or
they're
something?
not related
Yeah.
at all.
Byakuya is not related to Senkuu. They go make it very clear that they're not related by blood.
Well,
Well,
not
didn't
his
she-
actual dad.
Well, yeah, because that's his like stepmom, right? Technically, because she was with his dad.
No, but it wasn't. It's not
But
his
he's
dad.
not his-
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
he's
just
not his
adopted
biological
dad
father.
or something.
Yeah, he just adopted
Really?
him. Yeah. How did you
I
miss
don't know.
that?
Did they say that in season 1? I forgot.
Yeah. It's very
Why do they
clear.
look exactly alike?
They don't.
They look kind of
What do you
similar,
mean?
considering it's like crazy weird art style.
You're talking about Senkuu, right? And his dad.
They
Yeah.
don't look any more similar than any other anime characters.
No. We must be talking about different people because Senku's dad looks exactly like Senkuu.
Senku's dad does not look exactly
They
like
have the
look
exact
similar,
same
but not
hair,
exact.
and they have the same eyes.
They look similar, but not like related similar.
You're
I don't know.
crazy.
That's my
But okay.
No. I've just read a lot more and watched a lot more shows that I can tell when characters are related.
Whatever. You have bad eyes. Anyways.
I would have assumed they were related if they didn't go out of their way to say it.
Yeah.
But it's not like they
I
have
guess.
to be based on how he looks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's art. What about the sound overall, or the voiceovers? Anything stood out? I mean, I like
think most
Senku.
of the voice acting is really good.
Senku's
yeah, I like
always the
Senku a lot.
best
Yeah.
voice.
And he's the same voice actor as Subaru in ReZero.
Oh, really?
I think he's good in that too.
Oh yeah, I can hear it now. Yeah, he's much better than Subaru.
The character
He's
or
the
the
same
voice
person.
actor?
Yes.
I don't know. Not to go
I
into
think he nails
ReZero, but
Subaru.
I think he's good in both.
Yeah, I just don't
Yeah.
really like Subaru. If you
he nails the character that he's
I
playing.
think if you go back to our ReZero episode, I hated Subaru, but
You're supposed
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the point. But yeah, I have no issues with the voice actors. I think most of
Yeah.
the other ones are serviceable at best, at worst.
yeah, at least if you're talking about the Japanese voice actors, no problems.
Did anyone watch the
No, I
dub?
didn't.
No.
So I can't speak to that.
Okay, I was curious because I know, like on the Wikipedia, it like specifically says before every episode of the dub, Funimation added the disclaimer that all the voice actors were recording from the safety of their homes. So I was curious how that might have sounded, because I know there were some shows that aired, like the Japanese, you could fairly clearly tell like the recording situation for different characters was very different. Like Coco Mio that Shawna and I watched, you could tell like there was a lot of like differences between the quality of the voices.
I didn't even consider that or think about that ever.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I might have to.
I'm not gonna listen to the dub anyway.
I might just check out like one episode and see if there's any difference. But
that's like an uncontrollable. They do the best of their abilities. Story was they rushed through it.
Yeah, the pacing is a little fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, as is a favorite section, opening and ending themes.
I don't even have to talk about them alone this time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
They were really good songs. Like
the songs were good for sure.
I liked the opening. Ending I didn't really remember much, which is pretty on track for most shows, at least with me. But the opening I did like.
The opening, I liked the song for the opening, but I felt like the pacing was a little slow for the show.
Yeah.
Considering, like, that's the whole thing about the season is they're kind of rushing through everything, and then they sit in the opening for a couple scenes of just people standing around. Doesn't seem to track super well, but it's like a minor thing because the song is good anyway.
There's a little bit of spoilers, too. I like, the part I like about the opening is, like, seeing everyone in their past.
Yeah. I really like seeing Ukyo on his little sonar station.
What's her face listening to the music and...
Nikki.
It's pretty spoilery, though.
I don't know. That stuff, like, technically you'd consider it a spoiler, but you wouldn't know unless you watch the show anyway that it actually spoils
anything. Like, you see these characters before they show up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think this is one of the evolving... Like, there's a part where they're literally walking with the tank.
Yeah. So did you like the endings, though?
The ending I loved. I was saying before the show that it's one of the only endings for any anime that I'll watch every time. The song is good. The little animation of Senkuu, starting out as a child and growing up, and then like you get the green flash, and then everything decays, and then he comes back. I think is kind of a cool way of in the ending, kind of showing the progression of the show to this point.
Yeah, that was the only thing I remember liking about the ending, but I can't remember the music. So if you don't know, if it's your first time listening, we do 1 out of 10 based on the MyAnimeList rating system. So like 1 being complete utter garbage, would not watch ever again, could barely get through 1 episode, and 10 being like an absolute masterpiece, stand out in the genre or whatever, like, you know, and then 5 somewhere in the middle, like just average. So S, what is your out of 10 rating?
I feel like I rate things too highly a lot, but also like based on my other ratings, I think I have to give this an 8.
So you gave season 1 an 8, and you're giving this one an 8 as well?
Yeah, like it's not enough to knock it down to a 7, I think. And the other things I have rated a 7, I think, are worse than this show.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll bump it up. There's no reason for me to bump it up to a 9. I think I still like season 1 better.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some really fun bits in this season.
Season 1 had more just overall. Obviously, it was longer, so that they were able to pace it out better, and they kind of had to introduce everything, like, and that was like obviously you're being introduced to it as a viewer for the first time, and it was just so new and unique, so it had that going for it.
Yeah,
and because it's longer, you can kind of accept that some bits like were not as good as the standard of the rest of the series. You can just kind of like put them in the back of your mind and say, oh, the show's great except for like these 3 episodes or whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave season 1 an 8 also, not on the podcast, but just for context. And I think I would give this a 7, because I think it is less good than season 1 as a whole, and it is shorter, and that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it were just that, I'd probably also consider it an 8, because a 7 to 8 is a big jump. But also in the, like, after watching season 2, I watched Reincarnated as a Slime, and I feel like that does some of the things that I like in Dr. Stone better than Dr. Stone does. Because it's kind of got the similar kind of like benevolent civilization building stuff, which I really liked from season 1, and they don't really do that in season 2 of Dr. Stone.
Right.
So after watching that show, revised my opinion and gave it a 7, which I think is fair. I still think a 7 is worth watching.
Yeah, when I was grading it, I was between a 7 and an 8. Season 1, I also graded as an 8. And I don't think season 2 is worse. I think it's pretty much the same. Obviously, it has a little bit of the... I wouldn't say it's a pacing issue so much as they're literally just focusing
a pacing
on
choice.
this one thing.
Yeah.
Which is very, it's very condensed to this one. I don't even know how long the period of time it is that they're covering, but I can't knock off a whole point for that on its own, I think, because it's basically still just the same show. The same things you liked about season 1 are still there. Maybe not as much, and they're kind of in the background, but they're still there.
Do you think instead of 11 episodes, if they had that one more episode, like that 12 episodes fully,
you think it'd be better for that?
Do you think?
I don't think it would have made much of a difference. Depends on what they would have shown, I guess. Like if maybe they would have gave maybe the ending more time. I don't know, like the time after Tsukasa's death. But I mean, I felt like they gave everything in the appropriate amount of time that it needed.
I'm gonna get to one thing that I don't feel like they gave the time that it needed, which is kind of introducing Tsukasa's sister, kind of like at the very end.
Yeah.
They don't really lead up to that at all, and so I think if they had an extra episode, maybe you could put something in there that's like...
Like, I enjoyed that they gave him a backstory, and I enjoyed what it was, but it's just like... And like, Senkuu knew about it, too. Like, he somehow figured out that he had a sister who was brain dead that he was looking after. Like, what?
He's like, why would you be trying to earn money? Oh, your sister must be in a coma.
You must have a sister, and she must have been in a coma that you were paying for. Yes, obviously.
Listen, medical bills, obviously. Yeah. Always. You need money, it's medical bills.
The only defense for that is Senkuu intentionally revived him, so he must have known stuff about his past.
True.
Right.
True. And
it's the only way I think you can kind of get around him just like magically knowing everything about him.
I didn't see if she was on that ship imagination thing at the end, but I would assume she's going to play a much larger role in season 3. Right?
Probably.
Do we know anything about her besides the fact that she's Tsukasa's sister?
She likes to spy on people.
Was that a thing?
Yeah, she was like hidden in the bushes while she was looking at like the cave or like what they were doing. And then she got scared when somebody, I think it was Kohaku maybe, showed up. But that's literally it. Right. Like we know nothing else about her. She loves her brother.
Yeah.
She might, I would assume she's probably feels some sort of guilt over him and what he did, what he had to go through for her.
Yeah, she might feel that, but I don't think that would be warranted because it's not like he really did it for her.
But I think that's kind of unavoidable for her, at least right now.
Yeah.
They made a point in the show that she's got basically the mind of a 6-year-old because she never actually aged.
You're right.
Because I think she's probably, I don't know if she's be the same age as Tsukasa.
No, she's his younger sister, right?
Yeah, but she's probably not too much younger. But like mentally, and emotionally, she hasn't aged because she's been in a coma that whole time.
She and Suika are gonna be best friends, and I'm ready for that.
Oh yeah,
I support it.
Give her a melon helmet.
Melon Girls.
Melon Girls. The spinoff.
Wait, no, don't, no.
What is that? Like another show?
No, I feel like that's a bad thing.
That's a bad thing.
Way to go, Az.
Yeah, way to make it. Are you making
it
like
I unintentionally made an inappropriate joke, and I'm sorry.
Of course, Az making the lewd jokes as he does.
Hold up, we got an Urban Dictionary Melon Girls.
No, it's not. So did I say I gave the season specifically, an 8 out of 10?
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all gave all our ratings, yeah.
Yeah.
Similar shows. Slime.
Slime, yeah.
Sure.
I've seen it already.
I'll take your word for it.
Dr. Stone's basically an isekai, anyways.
Yeah, pretty much.
Isekai.
But I think of all the isekai, Slime is the closest.
Yeah.
To what Dr. Stone is kind of going for.
Half slice of life, half. Although Slime gets kind of crazy.
Yeah, it does, but that's why I like this little slice of life season in between, and think Dr. Stone should get that too. Because it gets crazy and it goes into plot, but what I'm really interested in is them like building up the town, which is what they do in the slice of life a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The city builder aspect of Slime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the same as mostly first season of Dr. Stone, a little bit of second season. They kind of have a similar thing going on where they pivot to being more like battle shonen. That was mine. You can't steal it from me.
No, I stole it. I watched Slime first.
Yeah, I really don't have...
What about the other slime focus?
Yeah, I don't have...
I killed slime for 300 years and now I'm max level.
Have you watched that show, Az?
Yeah, I've read the manga too.
Oh, I watched a little bit and it was like, this is too much.
It's very, it's got like some light Yuri vibes. It's just a wholesome show. It's very different. It's not actually similar at all.
If you like this show, you'll definitely like Mythbusters, so go watch that. That's a great anime.
Yeah, Mythbusters, my favorite anime.
Just watch that episode. It's not of Mythbusters.
Isn't there like a Carrie Byron reacts to Dr. Stone?
Yeah, just watch that.
Oh yeah, kind of she did that for Dr. Stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched that. That was really cool.
And I think she kind of came to a lot of the same conclusions that we did, where it's like, oh, the science is good, but the show is just like fun to watch. Like,
yeah. It's like
there's kind of a good.
There's a nice balance there.
Isn't Adam Savage a total weeb?
I don't know, but probably.
Yeah.
He's a big.
Seems
geek.
right.
He might as well. Geek and we were pretty adjacent.
You can email us at theairweweeb@gmail.com if you have anything you want to say.
Send us your science projects to failedsquared@nowland.ca.
Yep. Do that. You can listen to us on wherever you pretty much can listen to podcasts, including YouTube,
iTunes and Spotify's and
SoundCloud. Yep. We're on Twitter at the AIR We Weeb. You can add us there. Talk about something you listen to, whatever episode.
Yeah, we got our special guest Alex. Do you want to plug anything of yours, Alex?
Yeah. Come check me out at www.alex.com.
Wow, that's just your name?
Don't
you got the
type that in.
The domain name for that?
No, I wonder if that's a website.
It probably is.
That's definitely a website. I'm worried.
If it isn't, it shortly will be.
Alex.com.
It's just the Dr. Stone fan site.
Nobody has it.
Hey, got lucky. I can take it. Okay.
There you go.
I have nothing real to plug.
All right. Well, thank you, Alex, for being on the show today and being our guest. Appreciate you listening to us. It was a good time. Yeah.
The secret fifth.
Yeah.
Host.
What if Alex has always been there, just listening? He's been in every call.
I've just been silent.
Maybe he's the producer. Yeah.
If you ever hear a little bit of breathing that hasn't been cut out, that's me.
Yeah, exactly. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, comment, whatever. Let us know what you thought of today's episode. Next week, we are going to be reviewing The Promised Neverland Season 2.
It's gonna be pain for everyone.
As has kind of already been in that world. I haven't watched it yet.
Anyone who follows anime on any social media site knows the fact that we've all been disappointed by Season 2.
Alex, have you watched it?
Nope, I haven't even seen Season 1.
Oh, Season 1 was great. I loved it. You should watch it.
Season 1 is amazing.
Yeah, I think it was one of the 9s.
And that's where it ends. It ends at the end of Season 1.
It's been on my list, but it's hard for me to jump in when I know the Season 2 is kind of like poorly received.
Yeah, we'll see. You can join us, though, for that pain next time on episode whatever.
Honestly, Season 1 is enough contained that I think the having the nice open ending of Season 1 is a good ending to the series.
So that's pretty much it for today. Weeb word of the day, I guess.
Hey, Alex, do you have a weeb word of the day?
My weeb word of the day is... Actually, I don't know. I don't know what you picked, Tim. I was going to say it.
Oh, yeah. I picked morality in English, which means dotoku.
Just the Japanese. English word morality. Nice.
Yeah, it's...
Weebs love morality.
It's dotoku.
Dotoku.
Something like that. Which means, like I said, morality, which I only chose that because of, like I brought up during the podcast, that central issue of, like, should we be reviving some people? Should we be destroying these statues? What's the morality of science itself and what it means for civilization?
I got a great morality question for you. If
fun.
Hitler was frozen before the events of World War II, would you unfreeze him?
Would I unfreeze him before World War II?
Just for fun?
Yeah, before World War II, yeah.
I mean, usually the morality question with Hitler is, would you go back in time and kill him as a baby, if you could?
Listen, I'm trying to keep it themed to the show.
Okay. Well, yes. The answer is yes.
You would unfreeze
You would revive Hitler?
Revive
Hitler?
Hitler?
You're gonna revive Hitler.
I would revive him.
That's what you
Yeah,
just
I would
said
revive
yes
him
to.
and then I would kill him.
Oh, okay.
You know, you can
You
just
wouldn't let him kill himself.
No. Well, you can't just leave the guy frozen forever. You got to do something with him.
Well, we're assuming it's like Dr. Stone. He's like actually dead, just frozen, right?
Oh, in that
Sure.
case...
Is that how that works for the
Well,
stone?
then why is he frozen in the first place? Why would anybody want to freeze Hitler?
Fair. Well, to like preserve him, because otherwise you're going to be revived and you're like a weird zombie with no like skin. I guess that's a skeleton. You'd become a skeleton.
Zombie with
A
no
zombie
skin.
Nazi. I've
No,
never heard
well,
of that,
no,
that concept
a zombie
before.
with no skin still has muscle, please.
Fair enough.
You gotta rip the muscle and the tendons off to become skeleton. So the question for our listeners is, if you met skeleton Hitler, what would you do to him?
Yes. We will review these answers to these questions.
Send them to Felt's Garden.
Alright. Bye.
Thank you, fellas.
Bye.
I hope Alex comes back. Okay, I'll suffer for the cause.
We got basically the mind of a 6-year-old.
Weird zombie with no like skin.